I've just popped on to answer a comment or respond to a comment, and it was a lovely lady commented on the 3-minute pointing, which was shared on David Bingham's channel. I'm going to have a go at pronouncing the lady's name. I think it's Wilo Velin or Velin. Asked if I could do a longer teaching on the 3-minute pointing. So the 3-minute pointing was just demonstrating that awareness is aware of breathing, is aware of thoughts arising, and is aware of sensations, 5 senses, emotions. The foundation of awareness, realizing or being, or there is an awareness of forms arising effortlessly, is that we are the sovereign being. We are it. And what the sovereign being did was consent to the game of limitation. That is the game of separateness. So we appeared as a body with a mind. Although it's all one body-mind, that's the experience. The minute that we experience separation, so we consent to the game of separation, we come through on the planet as a baby born. Birth is that's the separation. So you've got mother with baby in womb, and then birth happens. So there's a separate, now there's mom and baby, and that's the very first step. It's not good, it's not bad. That is the game of experiencing separation as a human. But we are always the sovereign being. We are always it. And it all depends on the level of conception that we agree to. And this is why some beings say, I've always known that there was something more than me. That me is the body mind. This sound and sight is appearing in the body mind because this is a body mind. And this body mind is an instrument of beingness or of life or awareness or the self or God, whatever word is true for you. So what tends to happen is, because we've consented to the game of separation, everything appears to be separate, including the body mind. And that body mind goes along on its journey and, has all these experiences, good and bad, and can have a feeling of separation, can have a feeling of something's not right. And so it can go on to a journey of spiritual seeking, or it can go into addiction, or neither. It can just be walking down the road, but knows that something's not right. The knowing is the beingness, which is who you are, sovereign being. It's that knowing that I am not separate. So that sets up a conflict, and that conflict can be subtle. We can experience things happening and not understand them and feel as though it's happening to me personally. This thing is happening to me. But in truth, we are the sovereign being. We cannot be separate. We are not the body mind. The body mind is appearing in awareness. The body mind will grapple with that and try to understand that and search for itself in that. And that is not true. So what a really good practice that David, and I know that this pointing that David presents is more powerful than what beings think it is, because for anybody that knows my story, I had no interest in spirituality. No, I didn't even know spirituality existed. I'd done clairvoyancy and I'd seen things, I'd seen angels, I'd seen demons, but I just saw them. I didn't call myself a spiritual person because I was wrapped up in addiction. There was no mentor, there was no teacher, there was no YouTube, there was nothing. I was just this body mind going through life as an addict. And then that body mind went to bed one night, and when the body mind woke up, addiction had gone, everything had gone. There was no sense of a person that had come off drugs. It was just bang. That was not the body mind, that was the beingness. And if I'd have spoken from there, the words that are most true to that experience is, there is an awareness of everything arising effortlessly. But what happened was the I person, the I body mind, said, when the realization come that there's no drugs, what happened? Oh my God, how did this happen? That's all concepts of limitation, by the way, that sentence. When people said, oh, used to be, oh God, how did it happen? This body mind said, I don't know, I wasn't there. I was not there. That I that was not there was the separate self talking, but the truth was coming through. The truth was coming through. I wasn't there. So the story, again, which is a concept and it's limitation, said, I went to bed one night and when I woke up, that person died. It must have been a reborn. This happened, that happened, and then this happened. Anything can happen once we consent to being separate. And it's okay, because it was a fantastic story. My God, it was phenomenal. It really was a phenomenal story. And what made it phenomenal was the mind, a big, huge chunk of the mind had been scorched. So the body mind, Amanda, felt freer, and she could now use powers to manifest and do this and pray to Jesus and love Jesus. But it's still separation because it's concepts. And so what David points to is he, first of all, reminds us that we are the sovereign being. Nobody needs a teacher, nobody needs a mentor. However, it's the dance, it's the game of life. It's life presenting as teacher and student and presenting as asleep and awake. It's all a dance. The mind does not like that. It doesn't like that because the mind is a separate self looking to be one and whole. So when David, that pointing, if I have anything to really talk about, it's the letting go of the identity, the beingness, the sovereign being identified with a separate person. But the only way to really experience that is to experience who and what we are. And so there is an awareness of a voice in the head, or there's an awareness of thoughts or a thinker. There is an awareness of emotions. There is an awareness of seeing, hearing, breathing. That there is an awareness of. If that is reaffirmed over and over and over, that is the beingness announcing its true nature. Awareness only knows awareness. That's the beingness. But by default, we think it's the person who's seeking that is saying that. It isn't, but you can't believe what is being said. So it's the invitation is to try it. It may, depending on the consent, because the consent to separation is the consent to separation. When we consent to separation, we take on a conditioning. So the conditioning comes from mom, dad, friends, what we're attracted to, what we like, what we don't like, none of that changes. Mom is still mom and dad is still dad, and things that we liked are still liked, and things that we don't like, all of that is there, but that's not important because that is all separation. The game is to rediscover, self-realize who and what you are. It may start with something like seeing a bronze tap that is flushing out freezing cold water. So that is a description of something happening other than this body mind. So that appears as separate. There is a bronze tap gushing out freezing cold water. So if I say, give me the awareness of that, it will be, there is an awareness of a bronze tap gushing out freezing cold water. Then if I step back a little bit and say, right, now give a less detailed description. Remove bronze, there is a tap gushing out freezing cold water. Now come back a bit more. Give me a less detailed description. There is freezing cold water. Then come back a bit more. Now give me a less detailed description. There is water. Now come back a little bit more. There is awareness of seeing. Now come back a bit more. Seeing is happening. Come back a bit more. What's happening is effortless. Now come back a bit more. Everything is arising effortlessly. That's the journey back home. And whatever teaching, pointing does that sequence, awareness becomes aware of itself.